My name is Abina Johnson, and this is Focus on Liberia. Hit it! From Cape Mount to Cape Palmer, Mount Nimba to Atlantic Ocean, Obomi Hills to Pocondre, to educate, elevate, and promote. Talk about home affairs, in diaspora, current affairs, reliable information, history, talking about culture, politics, education, entertainment, business, sports, advertisement, articulation. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. From Monday to Sunday.
At Focus on Liberia, we discuss everything Liberia, from education to politics, arts and culture, entertainment, agriculture, history, religion, family, and technology. Focus on Liberia uncovers and showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I am Dennis Jah.
And I am Anthony Sear, and a pleasant welcome to yet another edition of Focus on Liberia. We want to say a big welcome to all our viewers across the entire globe, those in Liberia, those in the diaspora. Welcome. Come, let us have a conversation. This edition is a special one. We will be doing an analysis. Dr. Clarence R. Pearson is seated. He's fired up for us to provide some critical analysis on the Senate hearing of the RIA cocaine investigation that was held today at the Liberian Senate. The whole nation watched today when chiefs of the entire security apparatus summoned by the Senate who appeared were being questioned by the senators. And the senators have been trying to ask the same questions that all of us have been asking. How come we have the huge quantity of drugs at the airport seized about 3 weeks now, and there is not a single arrest? That speculation has been out there that, well, they have arrested some people, but today we know for a fact that no one has been arrested in connection to the $19.2 million cocaine seized at the airport. We know for a fact that this quantity of cocaine was transported from a house in Liberia. The individual who owns the house is known to the security forces. We have questions that we will be analyzing here. Dr. Pearson, it's good to have you. And folks, do not hesitate to share. This will be the best analysis you've ever seen since the whole issue of the drug box have started. We are on point, and we're going to give it to you analytically. How you doing, my dear friend and brother?
Hi, Anthony CA. It's a pleasure being on tonight. I want to say hi to our listeners and our viewers out there. I want to say it's a pleasure being given the opportunity to discuss this troubling national security issue pertaining to drug and drug trafficking in Liberia as we move from drug entering the country into drug leaving the country. It's indeed a major turn of event. We're here to discuss the merits and the demerits of the Senate probe today.
Thank you. So we're going to anchor our analysis on Liberia 2023 drug law that puts substance like cocaine in a category the law called Schedule 1, which makes it a non-billable offense when one is in use, when one is cultivating it, when one is transporting it, exporting it, packaging it, whatever one is doing with any of the substances classified as Article 1 or Substance 1. The law makes it a non-billable offense. Dr. Pearson, help me break this down. When the law says this offense to be in possession of cocaine is a non-billable offense, what does that mean? What is the law trying to tell us? And what should happen when one is caught in the act classified to be non-billable?
Thank you, Anthony. So that is a very important question for us because that was something that was on the floor of the Senate today, very controversial. But for our listening audience out there is that when you are fighting narcotic drug and you classify those a certain group of drug as Schedule 1 drug, it means it is the highest level of attention that can be brought to that drug. The same with any other drug. If you were a pharmacist and you were told there are different schedules of drug, once it is Schedule 1 drug, of course, you have to get prescription from a medical doctor and expert in the field to have access to that drug because it has to be managed in a way that is not harmful to society. And it cannot be in the hands of just anybody. It has to be controlled. And then therefore it is termed as controlled substance. So having said that, when a Schedule 1 drug is considered any violation in a category as first degree felony, definitely stands to be very consequential in our judicial system. I'm not a lawyer, even though I have lawyer blood in me from the Chief Justice down. All right, but the thing here is that Anthony, when you classify a crime as non-billable offense, something has to be clarified here. It doesn't mean to say you can just jump on the street when someone commit a first degree felony or a non-billable offense like rape or something, and just grab them and just jail them. Now you have to first of all have probable cause, reason to believe that a person committed a crime. And if you have reason to believe that a person committed a crime, it is within the security apparatus a judgment to remand the person into custody. Once you have the person in custody, you have 48 hours, according to our Liberian law, that you must charge that person to court. If you do not charge that person to court and keep them over that statutory period, you are under obligation. If you are Gregory Como, you are under obligation to release the person regardless of the crime you're talking about, because our law under the Constitution presume every individual to be innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. So unless that person is charged to court and found guilty, you cannot keep that person incarcerated. So definitely you must charge the person to court. Now, when you charge the person to court at that level, that's where the law kicks in to say that once a person is charged to court, that person cannot be bailed out while that case is being prosecuted. So right now, that's where we stand with this whole drug issue, that we are concerned that people who are linked to this drug, to what extent, and we'll have to discuss that step by step so we don't get everything in one bundle. At what extent do we feel that there is a probable cause? Maybe that way we can go next, Mr. CA. And if there's probable cause, then should they be charged? And when they are charged, yes, they cannot be built out by any lawyer or by any judge because of the sophisticated drug law that we have now in place.
Thank you, Dr. Pearson. I like your analysis there. The first thing we establish here is the classification of this cocaine that we're talking about. It is an illegal substance. It is in Schedule 1. That is the highest classification. And it is non-billable. When one is caught in possession of it, when one is transporting it, when a person is manufacturing it, when a person is packaging it, whatever the person is doing that with, that raises it to probable cause, because you are in possession of something, you are transporting something that is illegal, that you should have no business to do it in the first place. That instant creates a probable cause for an arrest. The question I'm asking to build my analysis around is, given the non-billable classification of this cocaine as a Schedule 1 substance, which is illegal, on what basis has no arrest been made 3 weeks after a seizure, when the security forces have had 3 weeks to conduct investigation? They say they have been investigating. Now, to prove my point that there is a probable cause here for the police to effect an arrest, it is established based on evidence that Paul King's home was where the drugs came from. There's a video footage of a taxi going to his house showing that the quantity was being loaded to the taxi, and it has been established too that it was that very substance or consignment loaded to that taxis that was taken to the airport. Investigators have been able to identify that. Now, the other part here is Dr. Pearson. GLS is a company that Paul King and Peter King, they are associated with. They are the owners of the company. The company has its own offices. Now, if this is a commodity that they as a company have fiduciary responsibility to transport to the airport, why is it not coming from their business office? Why is it coming from their home? The other question I ask is, was this package loaded at their home? If the answer is yes, as it should be, because it came from the home, then was it packaged at the house? If the answer is yes, that it was packaged at the house, then the owner of the house must have known something about what's been packaged in those boxes and taken out of the house. I think that creates a substantial probable cause. From his home, it was packaged, it was sealed, and transported from his home to the airport. That creates a substantial probable cause for that gentleman to be arrested. Because not only was his home used as a warehouse for an illegal substance, there are reason to believe that it was packaged there. And there's no way a package that he had knowledge of that had to be a consignment of a company he has as a manager, and first package would be loaded in those boxes in his home without him knowing what is in there. I doubted that he will have no clue. So that is a substantial reason to say there is probable cause here and this man should be arrested at least, since this is a non-billable offense and he's in the act of packaging, transporting, and in possession of an illegal substance that is a Schedule 1 substance, which is illegal. The police and the LDEA should have arrested this man, in my opinion, based on the facts and the circumstantial evidence that I have narrated here. So, and I saw the argue saying that, well, not because this thing is somebody car, the person had knowledge of it. He gave all scenarios, but those scenarios did not actually match the instance that we are talking about here. So I submit here to say, for the law enforcement community, after 3 weeks of seizures and investigation, to now have issued at least an arrest, and that all other suspects are alleged except for Paul, I'm not sure they are conducting any investigation. I doubt it. If they are doing, then maybe it's just conversation among themselves. I rest my case. Okay.
Well, and Anthony, I think you made some very strong points. Let me start off by mentioning 3 things, right? Capacity, value, and volume. When I say capacity, for you to transact the level of business that the global logistics services Menzies, called GLS Menzies, got a concession through the Liberia National Legislature and was signing by the executive branch of government to go and do business in Liberia. To do business at the RIA, Roberts International Airport, which is Tier 1 security infrastructure in Liberia, national security infrastructure, meaning it is one of those places that is a high priority place. It's the gateway to the country in and out. So it's a top priority Tier 1 facility. To manage anything that had to do with cargo handling in Liberia, you serve as the beginning point of the supply chain out of Liberia, and you serve as the end point of the supply chain coming from outside Liberia into Liberia and the RIA. Same with the Freeport of Monrovia, any other port of entry. Now, when I talk about capacity, there is no way that the Liberian Senate, the House of Representatives, the legislature in particular, or the executive branch of government will give GLS Menzies, the Global Logistics Services Menzies, the rights and the authority to man. Man means to be the one in charge of cargo handling in our country that will travel through our major ports if they did not have the capacity. Follow me keenly, Anthony. And because they had to justify capacity, they had to subcontract, or what we say, get a third-party contract with EHS, Express Handling Services, another global institution, high-class global institution, to take on some of those capacity limitations and gaps so that they can be within the range of meeting the acceptable standard to operate in the vicinity of our Tier 1 security infrastructure at the RIA. Having said that, if you have the express handling services operating at the level of the RIA itself, they handle all the cargo going to the RIA. And GLS Menzies is the one that within country now receiving the cargo and being the conduit, the go between the shipper and that major security top level institutions that will ensure that this thing is safe enough to get on an international cargo plane. It suggests to me that we as a country takes that kind of matter very seriously. That's the first premise. Now, when you understand that dynamics, then you talk about value. You hear Gregory Coleman say, and people are saying Gregory Coleman trying to provide justification, like you said. All the people were just the one that received the cargo and was sending it off for a shipper. They're not the owner of the cargo, so we can't arrest them automatically. But come to think about it, is the king's brother telling us, I will not use the king's brother for sake of professionalism, is Global Logistics Services Menzies executive director telling us, or general manager telling us, that the capacity at the warehouse to scrutinize cargo, to assess cargo, and when I mean capacity, not only equipment, but the manpower that is the manpower that is manned at different parts of that warehousing structure. Is it saying that same structure exists at his house? That the value of over $19 million of cargo can be properly packaged, observed, evaluated, scrutinized at his house? Does he have the same capacity at the warehouse at his house? If the answer is no, why will he transact business, official business, in the name of the shipping institution, outside of the shipping institution, legitimate, satisfied, licensed, authorized equipment? And don't forget, Anthony, in our jurisdiction in Liberia, on our statutory laws per sector, and you yourself know, Anthony, if you want to do a business, you go to get sector clearance. And one of the reasons for the sector clearance application is for your facility to be assessed, to see if you have the capacity to do exactly what you are applying for this sector clearance to do. So the question I'm trying to buttress you on here is that the value of that cargo should have called Peter King to question, first of all, through Gregory Coleman in the security sector. Are you telling us that the value of this cargo is at that level that you can transact with this business at your house rather than at your statutorily approved facility on a sector clearance? I leave that aside. We go to volume. Beside value, volume. We are talking about over 200 kilograms of an item that you're shipping out of the country. 200 kilograms of an item you're shipping out of the country. Is that quantity within your SOP, standard operating procedure of your shipping company? Is it within your SOPs, your guidelines within your company, that you can manage that level of cargo that will not pass through your facility but leave from your house directly to the airport? The reason for this goes to the next point that I will leave it on so we don't finish everything at one point. When you talk about that capacity, that value, and that volume, you want to know who behind the value and the volume. Because if anything goes wrong, that is a matter of insurance. Your company will be liable for goods and services that have been abused. You will be sued as a company. You pay huge damages in insurance if you got insurance, or you pay huge damages from your taxpayers, not taxpayers, but your shareholder money, right? So why will you take that risk? To buttress you in closing, if you put those three factors I just mentioned, there is no way, under any circumstances, that you cannot see Peter King and his transaction, whether he was in the country or outside of the country, as a probable cause to facilitate that crime.
Thank you. Look, possession of a trafficking quantity of that volume, as you accurately stated, roughly 333 kilograms, exceeds any threshold for personal use. And that falls squarely within the non-billable first-degree category. These are law enforcement professionals, and I have no reason to doubt that they are knowledgeable about this law. We're talking about a 2023 lawyer. You are a law enforcement entity. You are a law enforcement chief. You have 3 weeks to read all the applicable laws that grant you the power and the authority for you to be in the confines of the law and effect an arrest or enforce the laws when it comes to Schedule 1 non-billable crime. The man had 233 kilograms in his house. They should not have been there. The fact that that quantity was in the man's house and that having to be substances that are illegal was substantial enough for a probable cause. Why are you having 233 kilograms of cocaine at your house? How did it get here? Where are you taking it? How long has this amount of quantity been in your house? Oh, this is a consignment that your company has a responsibility to ship out of the country. Then why is it doing at your house? The other thing is that if this evidence sits in the official case file, an arrest should have early followed. If it has not been entered, this is where I wanted to send it to really, really be tough, right? Because to issue an arrest, you need a probable cause. Every reason you're looking for is a probable cause so that you cannot be in violation of the law. The man Paul King has given you the probable cause. They asked the question, is there any witness protection ongoing here in this case? The RG said no. There's no witness protection in place between the law enforcement chiefs or community or the investigators and Paul King. Now, if at all, he is not being arrested because you're trying to protect him, he's cooperating, then what information has he given so far? But there's an argument that even if the person is cooperating, the protection you gave him is to put in a place where he does not have access to other collaborators and he's not in the position to destroy evidence. The fact that his involvement, the circumstances surrounding him, create probable cause he should have been arrested. And while he's under your custody, you could grant him the protection he has once he's cooperating with you. Now, according to them, they have raised some individuals to the level of suspect. But the individuals they have raised to the level of suspect, they are all alive. But the man in whose house the quantity you seize has been illegal, the quantity came from the man's house. The man is right before you, you have not arrested him. But the low-level people who are associated with, these are the ones you call suspects and you want to arrest. But the one who stole the quantity in his house, transported it from his house, it was packaged at his house, he's right before you there, you cannot arrest him. Now, let's square that with other citizens in our country, people in possession of maybe $40 marijuana. The case of Bucket Ray comes to mind. Bucket Ray, according to him, you are in possession of marijuana valued at $40 US. He was arrested and thrown in a pickup and taken to stoppage. We've seen how they arrest ordinary people, women included, stop them, put them in pickups, and take them to jail. Now, you have somebody who who stole $19.2 million cocaine in his house. And you think that is not a probable cause for you to arrest the person. But somebody, so you have this man, technically, he is in a scheme, storing, transporting, whether the consignment is his own, but the fact that he took possession of a package and stole it at his house, that is probable cause for you. You should not, any citizen should not be in possession of an illegal substance. That alone constitutes reason for you to be arrested, more so when there is a probable cause. So for a senior law enforcement officer to not have seen any probable cause for somebody who stole $19.2 million cocaine in his house, transported it from his house when it should not have been at his house in the first place, and the person is a free man walking around and they're talking to him, tells me that no serious investigation is going on. That person, I want you to come in here.
You know, I would still love us to take this step.
This is where I want you to start.
Yeah.
Samuel Koga, the senator of Nema County, said, look, as far as I see it, there's no serious investigation going on here. And the only way we will have this thing going to a logical conclusion, it will be when the president suspend these people. And the IG went out of character and referred to the senator as talking loosely. The senator was asking questions. It is within the right of the president, the senator, to say, well, you should be suspended. That is not an insult to him. That was not an attack on his character. That was an accountability, move by the senator that I feel the president should suspend you. And he referred to the senator as talking loosely. He was made to apologize, and that was the only question. I mean, the only accountability measure taken by the Honorable Senate. How do you read that? And the continuous failure of the entire investigative team to not at least have a single arrest, 3 weeks of investigation, raw evidence right within their hands.
Well, Anson, I mean, those are serious points. But the RG Gregory Coleman made some justifications. I think they spent more time defending the culprits. I would call them culprits, rather than providing professional information concerning the case, even though they say they don't have any information, but they provide a lot of information today. Mm-hmm. Let me say this, right? So we talk about probable cause, and we talk about the capacity issue, bypassing capacity that's supposed to be there to ensure that they do the job they tell the government they will do, that they sign up for, overlooking the value of the transaction that they were carrying out instead of doing the approved location, they're doing it outside the approved location in the volume. But we said that may amount to probable cause. But I want to take it further. When our law says there's probable cause, it doesn't mean you're just going to take the person in and take them to court and say, I charge them with probable cause. You have to give some legal terminologies that the law provides, right? So some of the things that our law, the new drug law, consider unauthorized activities involving controlled substances, are in these categories, right? Unlicensed importation or exportation. Unlicensed importation or exportation, meaning you either bringing in the something that you're not given the authority to bring in the country, or you are trying to take something out of the country that you are not given permission to take out of the country. They become unlicensed importation or exportation. It's clearly written in law that one of the violations. Another thing that is written in law about narcotic, it had to do with trafficking and distribution. Mm-hmm. If you trafficking, it means you're taking it from one place to another place in huge volume, like we saw trying to happen with the 19 million bucks. Mm-hmm. Distribution is where you get it now. You ain't know the grand man doing the retail, or wholesale retail inside the country. You selling it around, right? You will get busted for that. You will get busted for unlicensed manufacturing. And today, Gregory Cuomo made it clear that they have no evidence whatsoever that cocaine is being manufactured in Liberia. So that one is off the table. They got illegal cultivation. Are we cultivating the crop that leads to cocaine production in Liberia in this instance? And are there manufacturing going on? We'll probably say no, even though it's from cocoa. Now, then there's another category they call custody and facilitation. Like we see here, Anthony, you got a consignment of this thing. And not only that, but you're facilitating the movement of this thing, or you're facilitating the hiding of this thing, or you're facilitating the processing of this thing. Whatever that facilitation would mean, custody and facilitation, acting as a custodian by hiding, by holding, by storing illicit shipment in properties or warehouses. And then the last one they got in our drug law, Anthony, is possession and personal consumption. Possession. Now, if I look at this list, that's why the senators kept asking Gregory Cuomo, which drug law are you following in this case? Because if you're following this drug law in this case, then there is no reason why majority of the people, whether they were just handling you or transporting you, they will not fall in one of these categories whereby you can arrest them, charge them to court, and the court can keep them while you're building the case and preparing to go make your argument. You get what I'm saying? Nobody charges somebody to court and then tomorrow you'll start hearing the case. We have seen, we saw them carry Samuel to the hurry. Boss tries to collect Samuel to her, right? They carry Samuel to her and they charge in the court. How long have been taking? They've been dragging Samuel to her for even start to hear the case. How long it took? For Natty Kofa and no boys that they said they accused of the burning of the Capitol building. How long did it take for them to grab up picking and put in NSA custody and abuse them and carry on some how to call it a torture with them? Why the case are not even entered court yet to be heard? So the question here is, and you're right, Anthony. It is important when Samuel Koga said, then something is wrong somewhere. Someone is playing the protectorate of these guys. And we'll get to it later on because there are other things that came up in the hearing that will link that somebody may be messing with this thing. And Koga is saying, listen, it is possible these guys are not being forthcoming. These guys are not willing to charge people. These guys are not willing to arrest people because the problem may be serving as a defense to these guys and they are waiting for evidences to get destroyed because like you see somebody who is the prime custodian of this product, the facilitator of the shipment that did not happen in his official warehouse but at his house. He is around, got a venting, doing whatever he can do, have a free reign to do whatever he want to do while they're investigating. What else could go wrong, Anthony? How much of the cartel covering of the loose ends could happen in the process of these guys not being in proper custody while the investigation is going on and we are waiting for the case to be prepared and submitted in court? Why? So Koga is saying, and I'll rest on this, he said, listen, from my security understanding, when you see matters going at this, the best thing to do is to take all the suspicious big hands and controllers over this matter, remove them from the scene, right? He says if you remove them from the scene, there's a high degree of possibility all of the evidences that are being suppressed and the actions that are being suppressed, an independent body will not suppress those evidence because it's possible some DA officers, lower level managers and middle level managers may not be telling us anything, may not be saying something because they are afraid that it will be handled by the bosses who are still in charge. Still have like Gregory Cuomo. Gregory Cuomo can send a bunch of police to your house tonight, Anthony, and he can charge you for something that you're not capable of, and they may say you resisting arrest, and they shoot you, and they walk out there and say, oh, the man put out a resistance, and they take one illicit gun and drop it in your house and say, yeah, the gun that the man used to attack the ERA you with, and because of that, you are resisting arrest, you are shot and killed. What would we say? Sergeant Greco Como. He is the Lord and gospel of the law when it comes to the execution of the enforcement of the law. So Koga is saying, look, remove these big hands. Somebody said, and I saw someone argue me on social media, said, so if you move the guys at this stage, you undermine the fight against the investigation, you undermine the investigation. I don't believe that. If these guys are professionally conducting the affairs, there will be paper trail, there will be documentation of what the investigation is. We are here and we are at this point, and the Justice Minister will have all the notes to this investigation. The Joint Security will have all the notes to this investigation. The same way they put Fatiga down, the same way they put what they bought Eddie Kromane down and they replace with other people and then turn and replace with other people, we will still do the same. We don't have shortage of security apparatus and personnel. What we have problem with now is the trust and the legitimacy of their function. So if that is going to be an impediment to them creating a trustworthy process, obviously, then Koga is right. Get rid of the big hands and let neutral people go there and solve this problem. And let's see where it will go.
If you are just joining us, this is Focus on Liberia. We are doing analysis of the Senate hearing on the $19.2 million cocaine bust at the Rabat International Airport. As we speak, chiefs of the security apparatus were at the Senate today, and we learned that they have not made any arrest whatsoever after 3 weeks of investigation, after the seizure of $19.2 million worth of cocaine that was stored in the house of one Paul King, transported from his house. This is a fact that he did not deny. There are video footages showing prima facie evidence that those substances were taken from his house and taken to the airport. They were seen being loaded in a car from his house. We believe that constitutes a significant probable cause for him to be arrested, at least. And that is the only thing the security or the investigators needed to carry out an arrest. Well, as we speak, there is no arrest. There's another element I want us to come to here that appears in the National Security Agency of Liberia. It has a statutory responsibility of intelligence gathering, security monitoring, and to inform not only the president, but the entire security apparatus of anything illegal, anything suspicious happening in our country, especially through our ports or borders in Liberia. The RIA is a major entry point in our country. One would think the National Security Agency of Liberia that has full knowledge that this is not the first time that there are records and facts of drugs being shipped out of the RIA. Sometime back, I think it was in 2023, if I'm not mistaken, there was a $100 million worth of the very cocaine at the RIA. Investigative report from few media institutions have established that from 2004 to this 2026, in a period of 2 years, 50 shipments of the very cocaine left that airport to Europe. Now, if the NSA did not get any intelligence at all, what is the worth of the NSA? We are spending millions on this institution and on the individuals who are there to provide us with intelligence that will lead to protecting our country and preventing crimes and anything that will bring instability in our country. it took the American and the European to give the intelligence that led to the arrest and seizure of the cocaine we're talking about. Americans and Europeans provided the intelligence to our law enforcement community that they have reason to believe that this particular cargo of this description is suspicious and you should go and check. Our NSA could not provide any intelligence, not even on the 100 million wolf that were arrested in 2023, not on the 50 shipments that reportedly left the RIA. So I asked a question, and the NSA, had represented there today. I don't know if they said anything. It's like the NSA did not even want to be there. Nothing whatsoever they had to provide. This is an NSA, a very tiny organization or agency in our country that receives maximum budgetary allocation. And there are reasons for people to think that higher ups, to even include some members within the presidential arena, must somehow be providing some kind of shielding, maybe diplomatic, protection in the entire operation. Because the president has declared drugs as an emergency in our country. So members of the security apparatus should have their eyes on this thing every day. More so the National Security Agency. The president took drug tests, took over. Now we are talking about cocaine that's been transported, being stored in our country. And none of our security agency could provide intelligence, could detect any suspicious movement that led to the seizure and arrest of what we are talking about. And the one in whose house it was transported from, for no reason, is a free man. He has not been charged. He has not been arrested. What does that say about the seriousness of this investigation? If Paul King, who stole, transported, packaged this thing in his house, allegedly, video footage showed that it came from his house. If he is not a suspect with a probable cause of an arrest, tell me, who else can get law enforcement community of our country arrest in what is a major drugs confiscation and seizure in our country? Who else can they arrest? If there is no probable cause to arrest Paul King, all the circumstantial evidence and probable cause that we see, it tells me that there is no one that they can arrest at this time. No one. First of all, there are no intelligence leading them to the seizure or the arrest. They have 3 weeks to investigate. All they tell us that, well, the other people that we could have gotten, they are all alive. We can't get to them. This is a law enforcement community that has folded his hands and waiting for them to die a natural death. And while this happens, we have a president who made a strong statement that they will dismantle the drug cartel. So you want to dismantle the drug cartel? The man who stole the thing is right in your country. And the police chief and the other law enforcement, they're having a conversation with the man. The man's friend. In fact, it has to take the recommendation of a Labyrinth president. He's on your board. You appointed him to NACO. that his company shipping this thing out of this country, that his brother stole this thing in his house. He is the owner of this company. So please suspend him. That was how the president acted to suspend him. And if he's suspended, he's still a free man. No probable cause. His company has been in the business of shipping. There are reasons to believe that his company has been involved because the shippers, the owners, could have gone to another business to do so. But what we know of these traffickers, they deal with people who they trust and who they have, agreement with, and who are getting their court, and who will give them protection. Those who are connected, who will protect their shipment, and they get reward handsomely for not only providing cover up and protection, they get everything else they want for their operation to be successful. The media report has established clearly over 50 shipments left the country during President Walker's time. This is the 51. And the firm that is now caught pens down transporting this thing, their reason to be that they transported the rest of the previous 50 shipment. And the head of that agency has been sitting comfortably on the board. And the president could not. Nobody in his cabinet, nobody in his security apparatus could advise the president, Mr. President, this man is on the board. This kind of thing. The fact that he was appointed by the president and no power falls on the executive, this is within the presidency. The president, the security people could not even advise it. Where is Kofi Woods? Where is the justice minister? They could not even advise the president. The president, this person will be relieved of his job. And Koga will say, these individuals, I noticed that the DEA boss was smiling all along. Did you notice that, my brother? He was smiling. He was laughing. This is not a laughing matter. Our country is crippling. The future of this country is at risk. We see young people, the futures that are turning to struggles. And you seize the largest quantity ever, and the man charged with the responsibility to execute and enforce the president's mandate on drugs. He's at a Senate hearing and he's smiling. But when I bucket red, then it's strong. Then they say they are giant from Zion. When a man married in Grand Jira County, they obey the Oman. They put a Oman fee in the air. When I was picking there, who are wayward, they're trying to hustle, life is tough for them. They grab their little one John, but trying to grab them, their feet in the air. These are victims of their whole scheme. The perpetrators are right before their eyes. And we have reason to believe that though them are killing them. Here's the thing that appears before you come in, right? The video footages, where did they come from? Who released them? We have reason to believe that they were released to Martin Colley and Martin Colley released them to the public. Our government cannot get video footages. They have to take a private citizen to get them and send them to us. So what is the worth of our law enforcement community? If they can't gather any evidence whatsoever that will lead them to an arrest, that will lead them to a logical conclusion that we have probable cause to arrest the person. Come on, man, these guys must be joking. That PSC? Arrest my case then.
Yeah, you cover a lot, right? Especially when you mention the security sector and their dereliction of duty, and given measure against the level of investment into NSA. In fact, a lot of us who are the political commentators on these various platforms. The NSA is one institution that will beat on all of the time in the national budget for receiving a lot of money in the tune of millions and millions of dollars every budgetary year. And we ask ourselves exactly what is the money being used for. Even with Samuel Toy being called by the Unity Party, all boils down to the same NSA security spending and all the kind of things. But let me say this, Anthony. This company, the I would call them again, GSL. I would call them that. GLS, the Global Logistics Services. These guys were initiated, given the authority to function in Liberia since 2017 July, with a 25-year concession agreement. All right. So since 2017. And you mentioned here that investigative journalism or journalists have found out that we've had more of these drug trafficking, external drug trafficking, which means drug going out of the country through RIA in the country that had not been accounted for, that this drug bust brought to light. But let us not forget, when President Boyka was aspiring for office, it was at the backdrop of October 2022 when the 100 million drug case with the Sonnet Liberia Incorporated compound and Freeport of America, Freeport of Monrovia warehousing situation brought another big issue in Liberia there, where we had that $100 million drug bust with the Sonnet Liberia Incorporated compound at the Freeport Monrovia. Now let us, and that tip off was given to us by the U.S. government. That thing brought a lot of condemnation by opposition candidates, including Mr. Boyka, President Boyka. Shortly after 2022, the next year, 2023, there was a $37 million drug bust again at the same Freeport of Monrovia. Usually, a lot of people can put that around $50 million. How that other one went, it never went, Anthony. You must have never even got a win of it. A $37 million drug bust, February 2023 at the Freeport Monrovia. And now we got this $19 million drug bust. And then people are saying that there are other issues that have passed through that same port area without detection. Today, in the Senate hearing, the immigration boss was asked, the OIC, officer in charge, was asked, Mr. OIC, do you have men posted at the RIA where the EHS do their screening of these cargo before putting it on planes? He said, no, we do not have representation at the express handling services where they screen these cargoes before they get on the plane. Anthony. All of the other joint security apparatus individuals are sitting on our table. The NSA, like you said, NSA, immigration, LDA, and down to even Gregory Common. None of them could counter and say, no, we do have. Even if not NSA or not LDA officer, but I do have a police officer, or at least to have an immigration officer with that instruction to check for any contraband trying to get on international flights at the RIA. That for me, that was disturbing, very disturbing. In addition to that, the LDA boss was asked, do you have the requisite equipment? Since you say you don't have your men posted, and then you gave me consent to ask you now, do you have the requisite equipment and capacity to scan for contraband, for narcotic going on international flights? He said, Madam Protein, or he says, Honorable Senators, no, we do not have equipment at the RIA. No, we do not have equipment at the RIA. So in other words, LDA does not have a clear, sophisticated system to track whether any contraband is being put on international flights. So now, Paul King can stay in Europe or anywhere in the world, take a telephone and strike a deal with an individual he has no documentation on, no identification of. He cannot even tell you clearly whether he has seen the man face or never seen the man face. He has not said anything that they were able to prove and say, except for a phone number that even the police argued they could not even justify the phone number. He had to call back to the office and say, I will wait and hear about that phone number you're talking about. Before they say, oh, that phone number belongs to somebody that you already know. Can you imagine that? So it left with the two shippers, the GLS, the Global Logistics Services, and the Express Holding Services to decide for Liberia security apparatus that this goods is clear to go on the plane from the managing director house from GLS and through the system of EHS, and she get on the plane and go to Europe. So what kind of security modalities or mechanism are our port of interest that are giving us the confidence to know that this drug issue that President Bouaka considered to be national security threat, national emergency? On what basis is President Bouaka executing this national emergency? On what basis is President Bouaka administration executing national emergency when in 2022, $100 million worth of drug was seized at the Freeport Monrovia? In 2023, the following year, $37 million worth of drug was seized at the Freeport Monrovia. So they switch it now from Freeport, they switch it to RIA. $19 million collected in suspected other cases that they did not catch. And they do not have staff stationed at the screening station between GLS and EHS. Anthony, you asked a very good question. What is the status of Liberia right now when it comes to fighting drug? Are we ready to do anything as a national security? Or has the cartel really penetrated our system? So from what I'm seeing, they don't have to penetrate the system already in their hands. Anthony, do you understand what I'm saying yet?
Yeah.
So let me make it clear for anybody who's listening. So NSA is supposed to be at the port of entry. LDA is supposed to be at the port of entry. We assume they're supposed to be there. LMP is supposed to be there. AFL is supposed to be there. But none of them today, from the hearing that we heard, none of them today are at the location where cargo are inspected and cargo are placed on the plane. So which means the process of the cartel passing the drug into the country and carrying it to the warehouse, and passing it from the warehouse to carry it to the airport, and passing it from in the airport to put on the plane, there's no security check. Technically speaking, no security aboard there. It is in the hands of the cartel.
Now, what you're saying, to those who are following, thank you. And those who are joining, welcome. If you want to participate, the phone number is on the screen. We posted the phone number in the live feed, whether that Facebook you're watching or that YouTube you're watching. If you want to participate, look in the live feed, you will see the number. The number is on the screen right now. 605-313-6004. Enter the code 791403#. And then you will have the opportunity to contribute to the discussion. We are doing an analysis here of the Senate hearing that took place today concerning the $19.2 million cocaine seizure at Araba International Airport. All right, so if you're looking for the number, look in the live feed, you will see it. That appears.
Anthony, I have a question for you, Anthony.
Yes, please. Yes.
So Gregory Coleman is concerned that Paul King is not in custody. He's just facilitating with the investigation, whereas he was the custodian of the drug and the facilitator of the transportation of the drug and all of that, right? My question to you: if Paul King is the one who had the drug at his house, facilitating the travel of the drug, bypassing all the different security checks that would have caught it, and to get it out of the country, the Paul King was in that position, And Paul King cannot tell you who his customers at the customer is. Because for Paul King to transact a $19 million business transaction with a customer that has a $19 million goods, you must have in America, and everybody know when you do international business, you are liable for the goods if something happened to the goods. So definitely, if you lose a $19 million worth of goods, you are responsible to replenish that person's money or restitute that person's investment, because you are liable for that loss. Correct? Business wise. Paul King is telling us that he sanctioned a $19 million liability just by a phone call with somebody he had never seen before to do business with them. And if that is the case, if I'm Gregory Coleman, if you have that level of confidence in the shipper to guarantee the shipper $19 million investment at your liability, and let him to pick up goods to bypass your sophisticated warehouse procedure and go and bypass the sophisticated checking procedure at the RIA and heading to the EU, which is not the first and only shipment. Question in my direct data voice. Question. If you cannot show that shipper, who own the goods?
Well,
if you are Gregory Coleman, if you say I'm shipping for somebody, and as a professional shipper took $19 million liability, and you say you don't know the owner of the shipment, who own the goods? Not you.
That's the simple answer, right? So you made it very simple. I am traveling. If I'm not traveling, I am sending a quantity or a consignment or a cargo that belongs to someone who reached out to me to ship it for them. When I am in possession of that particular cargo for the person, I have taken ownership of it. I must be told what is in it. You raised a very good point earlier that if you are an entity in Liberia, you are giving a license to carry on a business. And that business must be a legal business. In this case, this is a shipper that is only or that was only authorized by the Liberian government to ship legal commodities. Legal cargo, not illegal cargo. And because that business is under a responsibility to only ship items out of Liberia that are legal, he must check what is being shipped. I've been working for an airline for 14 years now. When you are traveling and when you are shipping a cargo, you must declare what is in it. For example, those who ship their guns, when they are traveling, they put their guns in the bags. You must declare it. If you are carrying ice, some people can travel with ice. You must declare it. If you are carrying battery, you must declare it. Anything that is a hazard commodity, you must declare it. Anything harmful, you must declare it. So the fact that Paul King needed to ask, or GLS must ask the person who's asking them to ship this thing, what is this that you want me to ship? And they must confirm that that which they're being told, they're being asked to ship, is actually that what is in that package. Hello? If you are carrying something for somebody on a plane, the person say, well, I have my phone here. I want you to carry it to my brother. You must physically inspect it to make sure that it is a phone. If it turns out not to be a phone during a security search either through the checkpoint, you are the one they're going to arrest. If it turns out to be a gun that is not being declared, you carry it through security, they will arrest you.
In fact, that's why they tell you at the airport, Anthony, do not accept any I said any parcel
Suspicious.
that is not yours, any suspicious
Yes.
item, and don't even
Do
put your
not-
bag down unattended.
Exactly. And do not take anything from anybody you do not know.
Mhm, mhm.
So the fact that GLS as a company was contracted to ship this commodity, and they are under obligation, under Liberian laws, not to ship anything illegal out of the country, they needed to check what is in this. You want me to ship this? What is that? And that person must declare that, hey, that's also chicken soup in there. Okay, is that chicken soup? You must check to make sure that it is chicken soup. The Peter King and Paul King check, the GLS check. I would think they check because they are under obligation to make sure that whatever they ship outside of Liberia, those things are legal for shipment.
Let me add to that. And let me add quickly to that. Let me tell you something.
Mhm.
Look, freight. How you call it? That transportation by air is one of the most complex and complicated travel medium in the entire world. Listen, when that plane takes off and gets in the air, Anthony, nothing hold it from falling down. Nothing can hold it from falling down. That's why aircraft crashes are one of the highest casualty accident in the entire world. Aircraft. When aircraft crashes, you get 300 people, 400 people on board. Almost 90% to 98% of other people will die. You don't put cargo on plane that you have not seen with your own eye.
No.
You can't put cargo on plane that your naked eye have not seen. That's the reason why even they say they were scanning the sophisticated scanners that big countries use. That thing is an X-ray machine. It sees exactly what you got in there.
That's the name for them. They are X-ray machines. When those things are in that machine, it's like you standing before a mirror. They will see every item and every commodity in there. And if any of those items are identified to be illegal, to be substances that are not eligible for shipment or to be placed on a plane, they will be taken out and they will be inspected to make sure that they are not any substance that are not supposed to get on an aircraft. So, I mean, I am shocked. Gregory Comer is my friend. He is a well-experienced man. He lives in Liberia, practiced policing and law enforcement, came to America, studied here, practiced law enforcement here. He traveled on the plane. He's familiar with travel. He's familiar with, moving dangerous substances. He knows all of that. And now he wants to tell me that Peter King or this agency that is on obligation under Liberian laws to inspect everything they put on the plane to make sure that it is not an illegal substance, and now they carry an illegal substance, and that is not a probable cause for them to be arrested? Who told you that you put something on a plane as an airline and you don't know what it is? You have to find out. Look,
Anthony,
let me go to something.
Anthony,
Okay,
look.
Yeah.
Look. Gregory Comer is belittling himself. Haven't you heard Gregory Comer say multiple times criminal facilitation? Criminal facilitation? Haven't you heard Gregory Comer so many times read people say conspiracy? Conspiracy doesn't mean to say, and you physically did it, but you conspire.
You conspire.
You conspire to do it. That alone is a crime on our laws. You got criminal conspiracy. You got criminal facilitation. So what is Gregory Comer saying?
You have aiding and abetting.
Yes.
Look, this thing is simple. I mean, we couldn't have simplified this thing so profoundly. and it's simple. You can't be shipping something that is illegal. If you are a shipper, you got to verify what is in there. I ship through FedEx all the time. When I carry my item there to ship, you have to say, what is in there?
Yeah.
They got to look at it physically. And then when it gets to the airport, it got to be screened through the X-ray machine for them to verify that. And if that item turns out to be illegal, whether it left FedEx and at the airport it was detected that it shouldn't get there, it coming back to me.
Yep.
So the fact that it has been detected that this is cocaine, they should have gone back to Peter King and arrested him. Because in the first place, Peter King was not certified as, GLS was not certified as a business in Liberia to ship cocaine. That is not their responsibility.
Yep.
More so when cocaine is an illegal substance in Liberia. That was enough reason. That was significant probable cause for them to be arrested. But let me go to something else here because we nailed that very succinctly. My dear friend, the LDEA boss, he made a revelation, and I'm going to lay that right before our president here. You know, my strength is political analysis also. He said, the Liberian Drug Enforcement Agency does not have a single device, not a single device, not a single technology that can detect any substance. He didn't stop there. He said, but right now, the past budget, there was no money in it for any device that will use to detect any illegal substance. So we are waiting on this budget here. In other words, suggesting that there's money in the budget now. And this is a Unity Party. Why? Is this their third budget or their second budget?
The third.
Their third budget. This is the third budget now that what they have money in now. So it is taking the Liberian government that has declared drugs as an emergency. The president took drug tests. The government has made drugs, fighting drugs, one of its number one priorities. And they are yet to put money in the budget, or at least I should say they have not purchased devices that will help the Drug Enforcement Agency to detect drugs in cars, wherever drugs may be hidden. They don't have it. 3 years into that. But within that 3 years, guess what happened? President Walker has gotten himself bulletproof car. Hello? So I asked, what is this government priority? It said that for the president to ride a bulletproof car. Report I read sometime back what they were able to get 2 bulletproof cars valued at $1 million Liberian dollars. I think one for him and one for the vice president. I remain to be corrected here. I think I read something like that, or it was reported.
1.2 million.
$1.2 million was used to purchase, I think, 1 or 2 bulletproof cars.
He got 2. He got 2 Lexus.
Yeah, 2 Lexus.
One Deco and one, for Deco, yeah.
And both for the president, is that correct?
Yeah, 2 Lexus, yeah.
So, but the government is yet to put money in the budget to get a device or devices that will help the Drug Enforcement Agency to detect drug wherever it may be. That when they enter the house, they show around, it will suggest to them that there's drugs or a substance in this house here that is illegal, not supposed to be here. They do not have it. So I ask the question, then what is the priority of the government? This government has budgeted over $10 million for NSA. This president constituted an audit of the NSA. He pulled it back. If you do not have any device that will detect any drugs in this day and age, then what are you fighting actually? What is the seriousness? Are you taking this fight very serious? You can get $1.2 million to buy a car, but you cannot set aside at least maybe $100,000 to buy devices that will detect drugs. Now, If drugs are just filtering through your airport, are you actually fighting drugs? You think fighting drugs is to be arresting ordinary people who are just taking it in the streets, in the communities, and in the ghetto? Is that the fight you're talking about? So when you say you will dismantle the cartel, what are you talking about? Is it to shield them? You want to dismantle cartel, and in 3 years you are yet to buy an equipment that will detect it? So what you were used to dismantle the cartel? You don't have intelligence. Zero. The NSA could not provide a single intelligence that will suspect the shipment of over $19 million worth of cocaine. So then what do you have? This is a bluff. They are not fighting drugs. This investigation here, Coca is right to demand that the president suspend all these law enforcement chiefs because they are bluffing. They are not doing anything here. Tonight have arrested the man who violated his business registration to ship an illegal substance, something that cost you a monumental probable cost. More so when it came from his house. It tells me that these guys are not ready. And if the president had been looking for a legitimate reason, logical reason why you should take action against the law enforcement officials, we have provided him an analysis solid enough for him to act. Because this thing we see is a bluff and it's a waste of time. But appears we have a caller, and let's give that caller the opportunity to speak. And we are hoping that there will be other callers. Hello there, caller. Your name and where you joining us from?
Yeah, hello. My name is Chiromale Mekure. I'm calling from Pennsylvania.
Thank you for joining us. Go ahead.
Thank you so much. Compliments, for the show. The analysis are all, brilliant. But here is the thing. I mean, one thing you have to understand is that if the interference from, the president and other people, the law enforcement officer would be most definitely weak. Because if the president called the DEA boss and look, you know what? I mean, don't arrest that man, don't detain him. That his fault. He has to submit to the president. That's why, most often when you hear people saying there's a presidential connection with a drug cartel, you don't dispute it because these are the circumstances that speak for itself. You understand me? In law enforcement, and talking, we have something they call a social before the fact and after fact. So, I mean, the investigation, nothing technical about it, nothing really technical about it, but the manipulation and trying to make it look like it's technical, that's the problem. There's a cover up. The cover up speaks for itself. The cover up speaks for itself. The excuses they're giving is very poor. An elementary student will understand that there is a cover up. Plain blank, that's it. The physical evidence is a deliver. The drugs were confiscated at the Rouse International Airport. So there must be somebody, there must be a consignee. There must be somebody, the manifesto will speak for itself. So what are you trying to prove to the Liberian people? And maybe you're trying to tell me that Liberians are so ignorant to know that anybody can play on the intelligence, anybody can, give a very, shaky information about it, excuses about it. That's what's going on. But in the justice minister, he didn't say anything good. So the investigation should have taken 2-3 weeks. There's nothing technical about it. But my assumption is that, and I agree with people that have the same assumption, that the president is protecting these cartels. That's it. You can't sugarcoat it. You can't window dress it. Nothing like that. The president ain't have an implication into this thing. If not him, he has a family member that is implicated or being a partner to the cartel that they're trying to protect. If not, the investigation should have been over, the talk should have been, maybe disposed of the concerning, the trafficker, should have been gone to court. And, so you saw the judge, you saw the police director, the estimation, very shaky estimation, very embarrassing estimation. What is he trying to prove? Why is he more time? So the bottom line is, to tell us and other people in the international community is that the president here is in the book. Plain blank, no matter how you let it, this is not about policy and anything, this is a fact. The executive marshal has something, to do with these kind of, trafficking. Period.
Thank you.
And let me tell you one thing, Anthony.
Okay.
Let me tell you one thing, Anthony. And people don't know the international, embarrassment into the thing. Because as a Liberian showing up to any international airport, you be a point of focus. As innocent as you may be, you will be very embarrassed because your lockages will be on critical scrutiny, you know what I'm saying? So it's an embarrassment for travelers coming from Liberia and well-meaning Liberians. So thank you very much for taking my call. I appreciate it. I hope we can have subsequent calls, subsequent shows like this to educate our people about the trust, situation in Liberia.
Thank you, my dear brother. I appreciate your contribution. So, folks, if you want to participate, the number is on the screen. The number is posted in the live field below, and you will see the number 605-313-6004. You can call that number and participate. We will be out of here very soon. Dr. Pearson?
Yeah, so the LD, and thanks to the caller, man. I mean, he made some very good points. Thank you, man, for participating. Look, it's worrying. It's very worrying. Look, drug is not an easy conversation to be having when it comes to transatlantic drug trafficking, where drug coming through your ports, your free port, and then you want to also do a transnational drug peddling, trafficking. Those are all serious issues, right? Let me say this here. You mentioned about not having a certain equipment to do their job. When that lady said, the lady who became suspicious of the cargo and on the scanner and said, oh, the weight was off, and so she couldn't see through the package with the layer scanner they had there. She said she became more concerned. She said they decided to open it and see what is in it, and she had to sniff it. And she said she sniffed it and knocked her out. She got high. It almost like the picture you showed her there, those minutes here, the burning marijuana. They all in the marijuana, jumping in this thing. Other than high with the marijuana. So, no professionalism, right? So, but it's laughable, but it's so serious. Sometimes how you traveling, those of us who travel and come back to the United States, America has this tendency where they make themselves to look so special. Even if you have the regular airport check, they do have the on another side check and thing to make sure before you get on maybe Delta, when Delta used to come here, or United, I think United used to do a special check, all that kind of thing. And they have those swaps. Yeah. Where if there was suspicious of you, they just have the swap. They will swap it in your luggage, swap it among your shoes, swap it. Even though little swap, the men don't have it. The swaps. As simple as the swaps, they don't have it. I don't understand my country, but that's the country we have. That is the country we have inherited. And I'm hearing Gregory Coleman, and then I will emphasize this because I think it's important her in the hearing. They ask him, do you know about this other person? Yes. Are they person of interest? Yes. Where are they?
Alaj.
About 5 names, key persons related to the case. Oh, they are Alaj. And then there's another guy called Marco Brown that used to work at the RIA also, who said he was a part of this deal, but was part of the 2023 deal and 2024 deal, end up in jail, right? For 5 years. And his name surfaced in this case. So they're asking, where is Marco Brown? Because they said Marco Brown made a phone call in this whole transaction. Where is Marco Brown? The national security team sitting on there, joint security team saying, they're sitting there looking, They're surprised about the name Michael Brown. Then the senators are asking them, but gentlemen, you're supposed to know Michael Brown. Michael Brown was a former staff of RIA who was involved in drug business. He went to court and they sentenced him to 5 years in jail. He's supposed to be in jail. Where is the man? They're looking at each other. Oh, you know. So then there's okay. Yahweh. The lady who representing the how do you call it, the justice minister, Madam Minister, that come to you saying you represent the justice minister. What do you know about Marco? Because you were the one prosecuted the man. You put the one prosecuted the man, send the man to jail to your prosecution. So that's the general send the man to jail when he found guilty for 5 years. Is the man in jail? Where is the man? Say, oh, one lawyer signed for the man. Who lawyer signed? Liberia. Who lawyer signed for the man? Which lawyer signed for the man? They don't know which lawyer signed for the man. Greco Como came to do dribbling. He came dribble. He said, no, that one George freed the man. Which are the George freed the man? None of them can answer. Can you imagine someone walk outside of our South Beach prison? That's going to be there for a drug that is a non-bailable offense. You're not just there waiting for trial, but you are being convicted and dead sentenced for 5 years. And you escape the jail. And you telling me that the justice minister reasoning said she know how the man left in the jail. Greco Como, who is in charge of sending people to the prison company and get a man that he know who took the man from the jail. Can you imagine that? And the minister will be telling the security team who are involved with that $19 million drug bust, but he cannot be found in the prison compound when he's all be in the jail. Even the men that's all be in jail not allowed. And so the men that's all be in jail. The easy grab one. The one just saw the war in the prison say, yeah, the man sitting in the jail. That grab a man. How can he make phone call? He's all be in jail. They say the man is allowed. They don't know who they say lawyer signed for him. They didn't get a lawyer name. Joy signed for him.
Lawyer signed for him. That one is beyond their control. They say it's with the court.
Wow.
They say it's with the court.
National security issue. You know, I think.
No.
I think the guys are, and they ask them about the different leaks, right? They say, oh, the people who may have done a leak, they are under investigation. These guys are doing everything possible, number one, to cause all the evidence to be called into question. You know why in criminal prosecution they say it is the most difficult case to prosecute? Because in criminal case, Anthony, you got to prosecute beyond beyond reasonable doubt, and the stake to hold that person guilty is high because you're seizing their liberty. You divorcing them from the constitutional right to be free man and free woman. It is the highest stake to prosecute criminal cases. And let me tell you something. The custody of evidence is so important to the point that when you go to prosecute a criminal case, and I'm not a lawyer, but I've been following very closely. To prosecute a criminal case, there's something called the custody of the evidence, which means was the evidence protected from the very day you lay hold of, or you got to know about the evidence and you took seize of the evidence. Was the evidence protected up to the point it entered court? The evidence, the pieces of evidence surrounding this case, these guys are deliberately playing with the evidence and allowing sufficient time for the evidence to be messed with that is going to be useless in the court of law.
Well, folks, this is how we will come to the end of this analysis. Thank you for staying with us. We will give our closing analysis and we'll take leave of you. Dr. Pearson, your 1 minute closing. 1 minute.
You know, Anthony, I think this is worrisome if President Bouaka or any of his officials come across this video, or any government official, let them know this for a fact. No shipper ships a high volume, high value, high capacity goods at that level without ensuring who is the consignor or who is the owner of that property. Nobody will transport somebody's property at that level, put it on a foreign plane going to a foreign country without giving a clear understanding of what they are shipping. And to make matter worse, you took it out of the facility that is approved by government by sanitary license, with the equipment and facilities and the technicality to ensure the safety of that goods before going on the plane. If you bypass all of those channels, if we even catching you for the drug itself, we're holding you for negligence and for criminal facilitation and criminal conspiracy. As simple as that. And that guy, Paul King, should be arrested, should be charged to court while investigation continues. Thank you.
That was Dr. Clarence R. Pearson with his closing. The fact that no one has been arrested in the $19.2 million drugs investigation is like a mystery. And I can't understand it. I'm not sure anyone is understanding the reason why. In law enforcement, to make an arrest, you need a probable cause. There are so many instances probable cause can be established for at least Paul King to be arrested, saying he is the only one who is not allowed. He is a part of a business that has been shipping out of Liberia and was shipping this particular consignment that is found to be nothing else but $19.2 million worth of cocaine. In his business registration, he is not authorized by the Liberian government, or that business not authorized by the Liberian government to ship out of Liberia anything that is illegal. And the fact that he was shipping something, or that business was shipping something out of Liberia that is illegal, which having to be Schedule 1 on our 2023 drug law, which makes it a non-billable offense, more so that the shipment came from his house and taken to the airport. He should have been arrested because under his responsibility as a business owner and manager, anything he ships out of the country, he must inspect to ensure that that quantity is legal to be shipped out of the country. And the fact that it was packaged at his house instead of a business place, that makes it suspicious. So he should have been arrested. That is a significant probable cause. Now, more to that, there is a pattern that this very business has shipped many of these things outside of Liberia. We have investigative reports that establish that 50 different shipments were done throughout the very airport and shipped through this particular GLS company, in which Paul King and Peter King have business entitlement and rights, and they are owners and they are officials of that particular business. They have violated their business registration to be shipping narcotics out of Liberia. And there's reason to believe that this is not the first time they've done it, given the history and pattern of cocaine being seized at the very airport. And how come it has not come to the knowledge of law enforcement entity in Liberia to hold these people accountable in the first place? And so to see that there has not been any arrest and that the law enforcement community, our law enforcement chiefs, are giving excuses why Paul King cannot be arrested, why official of GLS cannot be arrested, when it has been established with documentary evidence that they were shipping cocaine worth $19.2 million outside of Liberia, something they were doing illegally and knowingly. Under our drug law, when you are in possession, when you are transporting, when you are facilitating, you are implicated, and that is reason for a probable cause for you to be arrested. And to see that that has not been done after 3 weeks of investigation. And as my colleague said, one of the person who been identified as suspect, who was found guilty of this same act, and that he was in jail, and he's no longer in jail, and is connected to Paul King and Peter King and this same GLS company, for our law enforcement chiefs to be telling us that there's no probable cause to issue at least an arrest, it shows that they are protecting something. And let me close it with this. For the president of Liberia to be dancing around this subject this long, to have given a strong worded speech or address to the nation, and a week later, there has not been a single update from a very law enforcement entity. When the president promised us that they would dismantle the cartel, and a chief facilitator of the cartel is right there and he has not been arrested, at least for violating his business registration of shipping out of the country illegal substances worth 19.2 million. The president must be joking. And it is about time that if he did not know, now he knows where the issue lies. And I urge the senators to call back these law enforcement chiefs, and I encourage the senators to solicit questions from the media, from Liberians, because we all don't know it all. We have to get to the bottom of this. 50 shipments left that very airport, reportedly. And there are reasons to believe because we have one as evidence. More so, there were other confiscations done at that very airport. 100 million. I think Dr. Pearson mentioned 30-something million. So this has been a pattern. And we have the evidence right before us. To not have an arrest, it shows that the law enforcement community is a joke. And that an NSA, National Security Agency, that's supposed to be gathering intelligence that will lead to arrest, did not provide a single ounce of intelligence. And that the intelligence that led to the arrest came from the Americans and the Europeans. Tell us that we are vulnerable and our government is incapacitated. And to also find out that the Drug Enforcement Agency of Liberia does not have a single device that can detect any substance in our country. It speaks volumes that our government is yet to buy a single device. And yet this government buy cars. The president raised a $1.2 million bulletproof cars. This demonstrates that our government is not serious about the fight. And it is only performing right before our eyes. And their performance is naked, is shameful, and it is unacceptable. And I will not bite my tongue to speak in this way because that's what is called for. This is called accountability. And for Gregory Coleman, my good friend, to say to the senator that the senator was speaking loosely without evidence, and for the Minister of Information to be asking us, the Liberian people who entrusted them with power, voted them, and paid them to do their job, to be asking us for evidence in an investigation that the state is charged with the statutory responsibility and have all the institutions and the manpower to do, and he's asking us to bring the evidence, tells us that this government is not investigating anything, but they are protecting everything. On that note, I want to say thank you for watching us here at Focus on Liberia. We thought to bring you an analysis that will be robust, that will be thorough enough for our policymakers to see what this is and act decisively and within time. So, folks, we will take leave of you and we'll play for you the song that says, "We are all Liberians." And until we see again another time, my name is Anthony Sier, taking leave of you and my good friend, Dr. Clarence R. Pearson, is Focused on Liberia, new progressive commentator. We have a republic. And those of us who are not in government, who are in the media, who are commentators, our role is simple. We don't get paid, and we gladly do our work. And our work is to hold our leaders' feet to the fire, to provide analysis that will empower them with the information they need, put them in the position for them to take decisions that will benefit our collective interests. Enjoy the song that says, "We are all Liberians," and we'll see you another time, and bye-bye.
We are Liberians.